Hey guys, Umberto here from Umaxfitness. On today's video we are going to talk about how and when to breathe for weight training. We will do some diaphragmatic breathing, how to brace, and then at the end I will show you some exercises so you can see when exactly to breathe and brace. Some people debate on the fact that there are some dangerous maneuvers like the Valsalva effect. Some others will tell you that you have to hold your breath while lifting so you can generate more power. We will have a look into that and I will show you exactly how things work in details. When we lift weights, our breathing performs three main functions. The first one are oxygenations. So it provides oxygen to your muscles so they can perform at their best. Second, it regulates blood pressure. When lifting weights, your blood pressure can increase up to 4 times than normal, to the point that you have absolutely no blood flowing. And that's the moment that you pass out. Number 3, bracing. And that's something that we will expand a little bit later. So now let's stop for a moment and then let's look at the anatomy behind breathing and bracing so we can understand better the dynamics. If you look at our trunk, it's basically divided in 2 parts. The upper bit where you have more bones and the lower bit where you only have the spine. So the thoracic bones create this kind of strong structural cage that protects all your vital organs from front to back. On the lower part, as we primarily have our digestive system, we need something a bit more flexible, but still capable to become strong and rigid when required. Both upper and lower part of your trunk can do the breathing task, but they are designed to do it at different timing for different reasons. The upper or the chest breathing is more a secondary system that we're supposed to use in case of fight or flight, in response to a stressful situation. Due to a very stressful lifestyles, nowadays this is the most common way to breathe. The lower or the diaphragmatic breathing is supposed to be our main way to breathe. Or better, it was from the day you were born, from day one, till things start to get really stressful in life. You are possibly still doing that right when you are in a relaxed state, so mainly when you sleep or when you rest. Diaphragmatic breathing uses these netto muscles on the lower part of our trunk. And with a bit of practice, you can turn that into a weightlifting tools that you can generate incredible strength and stability that you can use in the gym. Okay, let's get to work now and see how we can practically control this mechanism. So I like to start the process here on the floor so you can be more relaxed and you can concentrate more on your breathing. Place your hands, one on your belly at the front and the other one on the side. Now breathe concentrating on expanding your belly as you inhale and slowly squeeze as you exhale. This process can be a bit messy at the beginning, but it will get better and smoother as you practice. Inhale through your nose and exhale from your mouth with pinched lips. Don't let air come out too quickly as we are trying to get in control of our breathing. Do this process for a few minutes and get confident with that because it will be the base of our breathing and bracing. Now it's time to put that into use. Move your hands to your sides and dig your fingers in. Take again a belly breath like you did on the earlier exercise and hold it. Now stiffen up your muscles, tense them so you can resist the pressure from your hands. You should feel like a wall is built on your sides. You don't want to push your belly out to resist the pressure, as that is not going to work when bracing. The harder you press with your hands, the more pressure, the more response you should feel from your muscles. Now let's move on to the body curl. Here we are going to add resistance to the process. Bend one on the knee and kick the heel of the other leg. We will hold the breath again, and while doing that, we will lift the straight leg off the floor by 2 inches, and the head with the chin tucked in. If you have an exaggerated curve of the lower back, try to close the gap as much as possible. So now you're bracing, and this is the least dangerous way to learn. So you can start that doing repetitions of 5 seconds, moving slowly to a 30 seconds hold, where you actually remain braced and breathe at the same time. The idea is to maintain the initial compression and we top it up as we go. To do that, you breathe out and in with a quick shallow breath. If you let too much air out altogether, your belly will basically deflate. To progress, we want to add even more resistance. We now bend both legs and lift them together after repeating the same starting process. To progress further, the legs will be straight and at some point you can also extend your arms. Now that you know how to brace, let's see how we can plug this into weightlifting. So I've chosen 5 exercises for you to try. We're gonna do the squat, the bench press, the deadlift, the overhead press and the pull-ups. I consider the squat the best way to test your core strength, as the barbell will try to fold in half all the time. For a normal rep where you take 2 to 4 seconds on the descending part, I take my breath at the top, I do my squat and exhale at the top again. If you go for a tempo squat or pause squat, where your rep can take up to 10 seconds, I will take another breath at the bottom before pushing back up. The idea is to remain as rigid as possible while you're moving weights to be safe and strong. If the length of the rep exceeds a certain amount of time, you need to breathe more often to increase oxygenation and reduce blood pressure, so you avoid passing out. Obviously, the weights that you use are such as slower tempos. They are much lighter than your max, so bracing is not one of the major concerns in this case, but blood pressure and oxygenation are. For the bench press, I only have one point of breathing, which is usually at the top. I don't find the bench press as challenging as the squat, so I managed to hold my breath even for a long rep. But feel free to add one more at the bottom if you wish. For the deadlift, I tend to change and adapt my way of breathing based on the weight I'm lifting and the reps I'm doing. 5 or more reps, I will take my initial breath to brace before moving the bar, and then breathe in and out at the top till the end of the set. For heavy sets though, I hold my breath till the bar is back down and basically perform single reps. For the overhead press, I do something similar like the deadlift. I take my initial breath to brace before pushing, and then I will breathe in and out at the top only. I find this much easier and stable than trying to breathe again at the bottom. But this is also the exercise where I bailed out the most. If you are taking way too long for your rep, you better drop the weight and breathe before passing out. Between the 5 exercises, the pull-up is definitely the hardest one for me, and this is the one where I hold my breath for longest. I take a big breath right before starting the pull, and I will let it out only when I'm back down to initial position. I've never felt dizzy or lightheaded after that because this exercise doesn't increase my blood pressure as much as the others. When you go really heavy, one breath generally should provide you enough oxygen and pressure to perform one rep, as you generally try to go as fast as possible. Also, I found it really dangerous to try to take another breath while being under heavy load, so it's extremely dangerous and can be going to the wrong way. The problem with that is that to take a second breath, you need to relax by even a little bit your core, and that's making it very risky. Imagine yourself, for example, going for your max squat. Taking a second breath right at the bottom of the lift, it could be very dangerous and you're possibly gonna fail your lift anyway. If you have tried already some bracing techniques and you don't feel like a safe, or you feel like you're not doing it correctly, or you actually feel back pain while doing it, maybe there is some piece of information that you are not having right now, you're possibly missing, that you can definitely find on this video up here. That was a long one today. If you found this valuable, maybe you should consider subscribing. Don't forget to like and comment on the video. Thank you very much for watching till this point. I will see you on the next one. Ciao, ciao!